Hello. So today we'll discuss about the different types of feeding devices for coagulation process, followed by the clariflacculator. Okay, I'll just run through the slides of previous class. We studied about the sedimentation aided with coagulation, the different process of coagulation, flocculation and sedimentation, then different types of coagulants and what are the factors affecting coagulants, and jar test apparatus to find out the optimum dosage of coagulant, then different types of coagulants and their suitability, okay, and some of the chemical reactions and advantages of alum and ferrous salt, and finally the different comparison between different coagulants, so based on its suitability, then the coagulating aids like bentonite clay, sodium silicate, calcium carbonate and polymers. Okay, so today we'll talk about chemical feeding and feeding devices. Okay, so feeding devices are the engineering facilities which are made to feed the chemicals in the treatment of water. Okay, so if these systems are not designed properly, then we may not actually properly mix the chemicals as per the standards. So sometimes it may also result in excessive costs and make the facilities uneconomical. So for that reason, so we need to design these feeding devices effectively in order to treat the water for the desired prescribed standards. See, accordingly, these feed systems can be classified as wet feeding system and dry feeding devices. Okay, so let us see what is meant by this wet feeding and dry feeding devices. See, this is how the illustration of this feeding devices is shown in this slide. So let us assume a circular tank, okay, so which is shown in this diagram with a paddle for use for the rotation and mixing of the chemical feed. Okay, so this is the raw water inlet wherein the water can be allowed inside this tank. Then we may add the coagulant and we may also add the coagulating aid so that there could be effective coagulation process, and upon mixing action, all these chemicals will be properly mixed with the water in contact so that the coagulation will be effective and the slurry can be taken out from the sludge pit located at the bottom and the treated water can be taken out from the launder or the outlet weir. Okay, and these feeding devices can be of two types, that is wet feeding devices and dry feeding devices. So let us see what is dry feeding device. As the name itself suggests, the dry feeding devices are those wherein the coagulant or any other chemical is directly mixed in the water. For example, alum is readily soluble in water and directly alum in the form of the small briquettes or the big blocks can be directly added to the water in a sedimentation tank with the dry feeding devices, which is made up of a tooth wheel or a helical screw type to powder the alum so that it has better contact with the water and it facilitates the better mixing. Whereas for the other coagulants like chlorinated copperas, it is little difficult to easily dissolve in its powder form, so in that cases we will go for wet mixing devices. Okay, so here the quantity of coagulant released is controlled by the proportion of the raw water entering into the mixing, and these dry feeding devices are usually utilized for smaller water treatment plants. Okay, see, this is what the arrangement done in dry feeding device. So here you can see a conical shape of device, and which is consisting of this agitating plates, and the alum is directly put into this device. And as you can see here, this is a toothed wheel arrangement, so that it will powder the alum which is put in the form of a briquettes or directly the alum blocks of the small blocks of the alum, so that it shears the material and it breaks the powder, and it facilitates the better mixing in this mixing channel when it comes in contact with the raw water. Similarly, this is another dry feeding device. So it consists of same mechanism with the agitating plates and also the feed, but the difference here is the replacement of toothed wheel with helical screw. Okay, so this helical screw is attached to a dry unit, so which keeps rotating this helical screw, so that the powdered alum can be directly mixed well with the raw water. Okay, so these are these two types of dry feeding devices used in the feeding of the alum, particularly in water treatment plants. Now we have something called as wet feeding devices. Here, instead of directly putting the alum powder, we can dissolve the alum solution with the appropriate quantity or desired strength. Not only alum, we can also add the other coagulants which we have studied, like chlorinated copperas or ferric chloride. Here it consists of two balancing tanks which are connected with each other, that is a mixing basin and float chamber, and the water in those two chambers, the level of the water remains same in both of them. As the rate of flow of water increases, the depth of the water in the mixing basin as well as the float chamber increases. Thereby slowly it lifts the float. As the float rises, the pinion and pulley rotates in the same direction, thereby lifting the conical plough and allowing more quantity of coagulant solution to release into the mixing basin. When the rate of the flow of the water decreases, the conical plug descends down and reduces the feeding rate of the coagulant to lower rate. Hence, usually this type of wet feeding devices are used for larger treatment plants, because relatively these are costlier than the dry feeding devices. I'll show you a diagram so that you can understand well the mechanism used in the wet feeding devices. This is one type of weir type of wet feeding devices. So it consists of a fulcrum, counterweight and a weir, adjustable weir here, and this is the float chamber and this is the raw water channel. So here this weir will control the flow of the water, that is the after mixing chemicals. So it will allow more water or less water depending upon the lifting of this float, and this is the coagulant storage tank, and this is the float chamber, and this is the raw water. So if the raw water flow is more in this, then naturally what happens, this weir will have more opening, and because of that this float rises, and accordingly it will release more amount of coagulant. Similarly, if the flow is less, the weir will come down and the float will have the relatively less opening and the coagulant flow will be less. So this is how this system works. Similarly, so this is another type of wet feeding device by a conical plug type. This is the conical plug type, this is raw water tank, and this is the float channel tank. It consists of a pulley arrangement, rod and toothed wheel and a string. Here what happens, the chemical feeding takes place into this feeding tank, and this is what I was talking about. These two have the balance of the same water level. Okay, So what happens if the quantity of raw water will be more into this, then this conical plug will be released in such a way that more amount of chemical flows into this tank till the water gets balanced. Similarly, if the water flow is less, so the float will be accordingly lowered or upward so that the water balance can be maintained. If the quantity of coagulant required is more, then more amount of coagulant is feeded. If it is less, then the less amount of coagulant is released into the system. Okay, so this is another type of wet feeding device. Then comes the rapid mix, or sometimes it is also called as a flash mixer. See, nowadays most of the treatment plants along with clariflocculator uses this rapid mix or flash mixer. Here it is a small chamber usually placed after aeration before the clariflocculation unit. It consists of a chamber made up of RCC, which is designed for a period of 30 to 60 seconds. That is, if the water is mixed for less than 30 seconds, then the chemical will not be properly mixed in the water. However, if it is mixed for more than 30 seconds, then the mixer blades will shear the newly formed block back into the smaller particles. So that is the reason this detention time is kept in between 30 to 60 seconds. That is, it should not be more than 1 minute. That is the detention time of a flash mixture. After flash mixing, the coagulation process occurs. See here, since mixing is a very important phenomenon in the coagulation to happen, it should be properly designed. In water treatment plant, coagulant is mixed into water by rapid mixing. The process of dispersing chemical by mixing is known as rapid mix or flash mix, and the unit which does this operation is called as a flash mixer. Okay, so let us see the design of this flash mixer. So this is a chamber made up of RCC here, and it consists of a dry unit and a impeller shaft which is fitted with the blades at the bottom. Okay, and this will rotate in a clockwise direction. When the raw water is fed into this chamber, then after, and it consists of a coagulant mixing area. When you allow the coagulant to mix into this, and this drive will start to mix the coagulant very rapidly in a short span of time with a detention of 30 to 60 seconds. Then the water is allowed from this drain valve to the next subsequent treatment unit. So typically it will be an aeration process, and this is a one such device is called as a flash mixer. Okay, design criteria for rapid mix tank. Okay, so it is a very small chamber which is provided, so based on the capacity of the water treatment plant, but the important parameter design consideration here is the detention time. So typically the detention time ranges from 20 to 60 seconds or up to 1 minute. Then comes the clariflocculators. Okay, so these are the modern devices which are nowadays mostly used in the water treatment plants. Clariflocculator is a combination of flocculation and clarification in a single tank. So in order to avoid the construction of two different structures and to make it more economical, these clariflocculators have come into existence. So that means the same tank serves both the purposes. That is why it is called as clariflocculator. That means the inner tank serves as a flocculation basin and the outer tank serves as a clarifier. In large water treatment plants, that is for community water treatment plants, the flocculator and clarifier are combined together to achieve economy in construction and also to save the space. See, this is how the clariflocculator looks like. So it is just nothing but the advanced form of a circular sedimentation tank, but with the addition of this, the inner zone, that is called as the flocculation zone, and this outer zone is called as a clarification zone. That is why, since it involves both the processes in a single enclosure or a single tank, it is called as a clariflocculator. As you can see, it is a circular sedimentation tank with a slope at the bottom. Usually the slope will be in the order of 1:12, and it consists of the sludge discharge pipe or sludge area at the bottom, and these are the scraper blades which will rotate slowly at some RPM, so that the settled sludge from the settled sludge zone can be collected and directed to this sludge pit, and it can be extracted for further processes. And this drive motor is consists, and this is the superstructure of this clariflocculator, as you can see in the diagram. And these are the outer launder or a weir which takes the treated water or clear water to the next subsequent treatment unit, that is filtration followed by disinfection. Okay, see, this is the plan of a clariflocculator, and this is how it looks like. Okay, and this inner tank you cannot see here because it is submerged in the water. Here you can see this is the flocculation zone, that is the inner tank, and this is the outer tank in the plan, and this is the centrally located well which distributes the water slowly into this tank. Okay, see, what are different parts and working of this clariflocculator. So it is made up of a circular RCC basin which is fitted with a motor. Here, like I told you, the recommended slope, bottom slope, is in the order of 1:12, so that to facilitate the removal of the sludge, and it consists of a rotating scraper arm, so to scrape the sludge settled at the bottom. Okay, so these drive units, it has two drive units. So one for flocculator drive, so that which is connected by worm reduction gear by flexible coupling chain and sprocket system to get the required RPM of flocculator paddles of suitable size, which are suspended from the arms of flocculator zone. That is, here you will have two different drive units, one for flocculator drive, that is for the inner tank of circular cross section dimensions, and another drive for clarification drive. So this clarifier drive consists of the scraper blades or mechanism, so which will continuously rotate it at designated RPMs, so that it can collect the sludge in the sludge pit at the bottom in the center. Okay, and the superstructure consists of a steel bridge spanning half or full diameter of the tank as per the sheet, and necessary checker plates and handrails are provided on the bridge, so that it can be also used as a walkway to have access for repairs and maintenance work of the drive at the center. So continuous oil and greasing have to be done for the chain and sprocket mechanism, and in order to do that, we will provide this a walkway to have access from the central part to inspect the clariflocculator. Here the drive units rotates the structural steel cage to which the raker arm is attached, which rake the bottom of the tank twice per revolution. Raker arm is provided with adjustable neoprene or brass squeezes at the bottom for efficient scraping. The drive unit, feed well and rake arms are supported by the structural bridge, that is the superstructure, which is in turn supported, which is as shown in the figure. Okay, I'll show you a small video clip so that you will understand clear about the rotating mechanism and other related accessories of the clariflocculator. Okay, here the feed is let into the clariflocculator feed well from the center the clarified water is collected through the peripheral weir, unlike other normal sedimentation tank, and the settled sludge is collected from the center of the tank in the sludge pit at the center. Then the clarified water from the outlet weir is sent to the subsequent treatment unit, that is filtration and disinfection process. Please note that similar to clarifiers, we also have some devices called as sludge thickeners. Okay. Whereas sludge thickeners will give us a very high density of underflow, whereas clarifiers will just separate the solids and liquids and relatively have the less thickening. See, nowadays these clarifiers are the most advanced form of tanks in the treatment of water. Okay, so we have learned the different feeding devices, that is wet feeding devices and dry feeding devices, and the clarifier and its working. Okay, see, now let us have a look at this clip so that we can see the different parts of a clariflocculator. See, this is the different parts of a clariflocculator. As you can see here, this is the walkway which I was talking about, and this is the drive unit, and this is the shaft, and this is at the bottom you can see the scraper mechanism, and here you will see the sludge pit to collect the sludge from the bottom. Okay, see, as you know what is meant by sedimentation, it is just the process of separation of the particles to settle out the fluid in which they are entrained. Okay, see, this is how the, as you can see, the drive unit here, which is rotating the scraper at the bottom, and this is the well at the center. Okay, see, as you can see the mechanism of the separation and settlement of the sludge. So this is the central influent well here, and that is the scraper mechanism. See, this is the cross section of the tank. As you can see the drive, this is the feed well through which the water is let inside, and this is the central zone, that is flocculator zone. And this is the clarified water, that is a launder or a outlet weir through which the clarified water is taken out. Okay, and this the sludge pipe, that is the sludge. The settled sludge is taken out from this pipe, and further it is processed or it is sun dried. Here the important design parameter is the detention time and also the depth. So this is called a side water depth, that is the effective depth of a clarifier. The volume of the tank is given by the surface area, that is usually it is a circular one. If it is a circular one, then it is the area as pi d square by 4 into depth. Okay, so this gives the volume of the tank, which is also equal to the capacity or flow rate into detention time. So this is the expressions which can be used to find out the volume of the tank. So this will help when you design a clarifier. Okay, so it is again a function of settling velocity. Considering all these things, we have to carefully design the dimensions of a sedimentation tank. Okay, so I hope you have understood about the clariflocculator, the feeding devices, which has been taught in today's class. Okay, in the next class we will see further about the filtration unit. Okay, have a pleasant day.